Hello, BookTube. I've got some more mail for you today, and once again, we are going to open it raw. I'm not going to screen it first. I'm emboldened by the last couple of mail hauls we did, where I was all ready to lavish everything in sight with food for thought, and I didn't have to do it at all. Instead, we had a fun time, like the good old days. So we're going to do it again, and we're going to try to get through from one end to the other, without anybody going into a frothing rage about anything. So let's see what this first one is. What have we got here? Now, I think it's safe to assume that all of these things are going to be 2026 releases. Pretty much, I would think that would be a given. Maybe a stray finished copy here and there, but probably not. So what is this first one? This is, April of 2026. This is by Tom French, and it's called The Gap Years. Climbing, Skiing, and the Journey Back. Nothing really to look at here. This is just a galley copy. So let's see what we have here, and you can just look at my face. No problem with that, right? Let's see here. The author is a lifelong mountaineer, a cross-country skier, and a senior partner emeritus at McKinsey & Company. Vibrant, meditative, and deeply inspiring, this book is a memoir of endurance and rediscovery. Perfect for readers of John Krakauer, Paul Theroux, and Cheryl Strayed. Okay, at the end of 2019, after 4 decades in business, Tom French retired, determined to revisit the passions that had defined his youth: mountaineering, adventure travel, and cross-country ski racing, and to see what meaning they still held. What began as a single gap year before settling into retirement became a 3-year odyssey of physical challenge, beauty, and self-reflection. Interesting. Okay, so he rebuilds his athletic strength, he competes, undertakes 2 expeditions to Mount Everest, and in this book, which comes out in mid-April, he basically just recounts his adventures. Very interesting. I don't do any adventure traveling myself anymore, so I'm always interested in reading about it. Great. All right. Well, we're off to a fine start here. So let's just keep going. Let's see what we have here. What is this next one? Paperback of some kind? What are you? Okay, I don't know what this is. It says it's listed for November. Doesn't have a sheet of any kind. What on earth? What on earth are you? Fairly attractive. All right, well, it's a novel. It is called The Wicked, and it's by Rebecca Johnp. That is what it looks like. I believe this will probably be what it is. Yeah, it's going to be a trade paperback. It just says November 2025, so it might be out already. It's going to be a trade paperback, so it's going to be just this. Only without, the advanced reading copy thing there. So what have we got here? Okay, social media star. The Wicked amassed more than 3.7 million reads in the 7 months it was live on Wattpad. Oh, this is a Wattpad novel. With the author at more than 48.1 thousand followers on Wattpad, 75,000 followers on Instagram, and a steadily growing social media presence. Okay, so can we hear about the book? Now that I know that you're a social media titan, can we hear about the book? Mafia meets heist romance. Mafia romance is proven to be a chart-topping category. Fantasy tends to be, yeah. J.T. Gessinger's Queens and Monsters series have been instant USA Today bestsellers. Okay, the series is singular, so it's has, not have. The Wicked trilogy blends hot mafia romance with thrilling heist romance, a combination that has readers buzzing and makes John P. a unique new voice in the category. But you just said that she's not unique. Just the sentence before you said. Anyway. Oh no. All right. Well, this whole thing is clearly aimed at the book talk crowd, because in addition to starting off by telling me the social media stats of the author, the back copy finishes up by telling me all about how beautiful the book itself is physically, with beautiful sprayed edges and interior cover art. This exciting viral trilogy already has readers begging to see the print edition. But obviously, I am not a tween sensation enough to get the sprayed edges, and there is no internal artwork in my copy. I don't know if that'll be true in the finished copy. Maybe I'm on the list for the finished copy. That would be great. It's November, so I'll read it right away. I'll read it tonight. and maybe get a little bit of insight into the TikTok, the book talk world. Wouldn't that be fun? All right, let's see. We're on here to this next one here. Of course, mafia romance is ridiculous. that is ridiculous. It is fantasy, just the same as if it had elves under toadstools. But like I said, there's no harm in reading fantasy, just so long as you're not led to believe there's any amount of verisimilitude at all. There is not. There is no such thing as mafia romance. Right, this next one is fighting me, and I notice how far away my scissors are. Even the bean is noticing that I am fighting. She has lifted her little head when she doesn't want to. She wants to be dozing. But she noticed that I was fighting with this thing. So let's try and smooth things out so as not to bother her. Let's see what this next one is. Okay, this is February. This is by Allison something or other. Oh, looks like the cover was misprinted. Lamoth is the author's name. This is Dirty Metal. And she has been lost on this advanced copy. I'm sure the finished copy will fix that. So do we have a sheet for you? No, we don't. Okay. So this is an advanced copy. What is this? From Flatiron Books. Set in New York City, 1992. So continuing the dodge that we've seen in all sorts of romances and thrillers and fiction, contemporary literary fiction, where the author just deliberately sets their book before cell phones. They just don't want to deal with cell phones and instant messaging and GPS or anything like that. Let's see here. Meet Parker Snow, the most tenacious reporter for a tabloid paper that thrives on juicy gossip over hard-hitting news, the New York Street. She also has a big black mark on her record from her last street crime story and a habit of taking a few too many pills to erase the memory. Since the fall of the USSR, a new crop of Russian criminals has been arriving in Brighton Beach. It's now Parker's job to cover them. But her old beat keeps calling her, especially when she learns of a murdered woman whose case the cops want to ignore. Trying to run down two stories at once, a simmering mafia turf war and a homicide that leads to two more with no clear link between them, Parker must also fight the pull of her pills and the arrogant men who get in her way at every turn. Despite it all, she's determined to find truth and redemption for herself, the victims, and a city in chaos if her demons don't get to her first. So who is this author? Writer based in Miami by way of New York. That's two bad decisions right there. After studying French and English with a concentration in poetry while writing at the University of Virginia, she spent a year in Russia before moving on to New York City. When not writing or reading 3 books at a time, I sympathize with you, my sister, she can be generally found in the dance studio, in the kitchen, or underwater. Oh, and this is her first novel. Dirty Metal is her debut. How wonderful. Oh, my. Okay, so we're dealing with a very, very flawed heroine, and we'll just see where it goes from there. That can be a recipe for disaster, but it doesn't have to be. The way it would be a recipe for disaster in the 21st century is that she isn't really flawed. She's actually from Krypton, and is a take-charge girl boss who don't need no man. And that gets a little old, so I'm hoping that's not the case. So what is this next one? What are you? Okay, this is by W.S. Wist, and it is called A Mystery of Anubbins. Look at that cover. What on earth? Again, no paperwork of any kind here, so what are we going to do here? Let's just read from the back. Hobgoblins are not real. They are things of legend, myth, and fairy tales. Anyone can tell you that. And that's what Peter and Andrew would have told you too before they met Anubbins. But now, as one brother is drawn into a Stygian underground world, the other must turn to outside help and ancient lore for answers. Can he solve the mystery of Anubbins before he loses his brother forever? So, young adult fantasy? No idea when it's coming out. No idea of anything like that. I'll have to look all these things up when I'm done. Let's do one of these gigantic wagon wheel things here that are just vacuum pressed. You have to tear them to pieces. I have to tear them to pieces when I'm done because they take up a huge amount of the recycling bin otherwise all by themselves. So let's see. Let's see what this is. Oh, okay. Oh, you're not going to have a sheet either? No, these all have invoices. I don't want an invoice. We'll read from the finished copy. This is by Gordon Sander. It's from Cornell University Press. Haven't had much from them. This is the Finnish Front Line. Kekkonen, Kennedy, and Khrushchev's Cold War Showdown. Let's see here. This is a historical biography of Urho Kekkonen, the 8th and longest-serving president of Finland, the most controversial as well as the most misunderstood figure in Finnish history. He governed Finland for 25 years, from 1956 to 1981. So do any of you remember him? Did any of you live under his presidency? The author focuses on Kekkonen's pivotal first term as president, which was bracketed by two crises that together formed the template for both Finland's relationship with the Soviet Union from 1956 through the fall of the USSR and Kekkonen's own special relationship with Moscow. The Night Frost crisis of 1957, which derived from Kremlin's desire to exert greater influence on Finnish politics, and the Note crisis of 1961, which coincided with the Great Berlin crisis of 1961 and occurred when Moscow suddenly invoked the clause in the 1948 Finnish-Soviet treaty that entitled the Kremlin to call for mutual discussions between Finnish and Soviet militaries and was perceived as a threat to Finnish independence. How'd you like to diagram that sentence? Thinking this might presage a Soviet invasion of Finland, a distressed Kekkonen was able to resolve the crisis by flying to Siberia to meet with his erstwhile friend Nikita Khrushchev, who may well have precipitated the crisis in order to ensure his re-election. Wow, this book centers on an overlooked chapter in the Cold War, as well as a revealing if forgotten chapter in the presidency of John F. Kennedy, and his secret offer to help Kekkonen, which the latter rejected, ultimately to avoid making Finland into the next frontier of the Cold War. Oh my, I am totally on board. totally on board. The author lives in Riga, and I don't know when this comes out, but I'm going to read it tonight. I don't care when it comes out. I'm going to read it tonight. Fantastic. All right, let's keep going here. We've got a couple more packages to go. We're doing just fine though for mail. Might be that mail's back on the menu, boys. I say that I'm going to read that thing tonight, and that is true unless one of these final two packages can knock it out of the running. But I really doubt it. I really doubt that will happen. Oh, it's a package within a package. Isn't that cute? So there's a package inside the other package. Hey, let's see. Maybe it's packages all the way down. Let's see what we have here. Oh, we have a bunch of books. Okay, great. We have a bunch of books. Someone was just being careful, that's all. So there's a rubber band for you, baby. I'm going to fire that across the room. I see lots of pub sheets, so that's good. That's good. I see lots of pub sheets. So what do we got here first? Oh my. Oh, I think this might be the mother of all care packages. Oh, I think it is. Oh, I swear. Book publicists are the nicest people in the world. Yeah, that's what this is. Okay. Are you ready for a blast of literature and translation? This is all next year. And boy, oh boy, is Liverite one of my favorite publishing imprints. Boy, oh boy, are they starting off literature and translation right for the new year. With a blast of new things to consider. Amazing. So the first one is The Analects of Confucius. This is translated by Aaron Klein. And we might as well read about these, right? I wonder how many of these I will have reviewed in translation. I can't read The Analects of Confucius. But I can sure as hell write about it. I wonder if wasn't there one? Or am I thinking there was a great Confucius biography about 10 years ago? Maybe I'm thinking of that. The Analects, the earliest record of the teachings of Kongzi, known to Westerners as Confucius, have stood as the bedrock of Chinese culture for over 2,500 years, shaping the trajectory of human history in ways unmatched by nearly any other secular philosophy. While much of the Western ethics have been dominated by guardrails, prohibitions, and restrictions, Confucius' teachings provide us instead with an ethics of aspiration, contending that we all can become better people. But until now, renditions of this compendium of wisdom have forced women into a philosophical background. In later Chinese commentaries on the Analects, which offered deeply patriarchal readings of Confucius' text, and in Western translations which interpolated male pronouns and references to sons where none exist in the original. Oh my, Aaron Klein. Okay. Is your aim here textual fidelity, or do you just hate me? I don't know. I guess I'll have to find out. I'll have to find out if I'm going to be Emily Wilson. That would be nice to know ahead of time. Renowned scholar Aaron Klein boldly challenges this legacy, breathing new life into this monumental work with a fresh and accessible translation which features not only an innovative thematic structure, but also a vital reinterpretation for modern readers. By employing a gender-neutral language throughout, she dismantles patriarchal misrepresentations of the book, and in the process reveals a Confucius who speaks to everyone. Okay, that is great. That is absolutely fantastic. And this comes out in February. That is great. That is absolutely fantastic. I have only one question. One crucial question. Is producing gender-neutral language in the Analects of Confucius accurate? Is it accurate to the Analects of Confucius? That pub sheet seemed to indicate that it is. That the actual text of the Analects does not specify male or female. Okay. If that's true, and I don't know, as I don't know the language, if that's true, then by all means, show me what's there instead of what, is just the assumption of some fuddy-duddy earlier translator. By all means. So we will see. We will see. I will obviously do a deep dive. Then what is the next one? A whole bunch of translations. Oh, man. What? Oh, all right. This next one, I'm assuming you're the same date. Oh, no, you're April. This is April. This is Simon Armitage, who some of you will know for his translation of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And here he is doing a translation of Gilgamesh, a verse translation. So you've got verse on the pages there. What have we got here? Originating nearly 4,000 years ago, the Epic of Gilgamesh tells the story of a tyrannical king and his wild counterpart, Enkidu, whom the gods spawned to rein in the king's cruel tendencies. Their unlikely friendship leads to adventure, tragedy, and a quest for immortality. But for all its fantastical elements, stone oarsmen, a celestial bull, a man made from clay, the gods in their heaven, it explores themes of power, loyalty, love, and loss, speaking with unnerving clarity about what it means to be human. As you Star Trek fans know perfectly well. Tanagra, when the walls fell, the beast of Tanagra. It's a testament to the story's inherent power that Gilgamesh continues to enthrall readers despite a long line of English translations that have privileged punctiliousness over narrative energy and readability. Now, in the hands of Simon Armitage, poet laureate of the United Kingdom, this profound ancient epic swells and flows in contemporary English with a vitality and immediacy that only a true poetic rendering could achieve. Armitage adds a poetic rhythm and acoustic charm to the poem's startlingly emotional and psychological complexity. Okay, well, anything like that, anything like what you're describing here is definitely doing violence to the fragmentary remains of the Epic of Gilgamesh that we actually have. But it sounds like you know that. And are just doing this should probably be called a verse version, or verse adaptation rather than a verse translation, but it doesn't matter. I am all for it. I mentioned just yesterday on this channel how much I love work in translation, just for itself. Not even necessarily a question of its accuracy. Just the work in itself. The whole process in itself. So what is next? Oh, all right. Okay, well, finally we have something that I can actually check on. I can actually check on the author. That's good. Not that I intend to pounce on anybody. So this comes out April 7th, and we have here a new translation into English by A.M. Juster of the Canzoniere of Petrarch. How incredible. How absolutely incredible. One of the most influential collections of love poetry ever written. This book remains an essential arrangement of scattered lyrical compositions and expressions of unrequited devotion for his beloved Laura. Following the development of the young poet's obsessive desire for Laura to his regret and repentance for it, these sonnets are unwavering in their expression of desire, longing, and internal spiritual ruminations. Oh, man. In this monumental translation, The renowned poet and translator A.M. Juster exquisitely imitates Petrarch's music and fresh language while being faithful to the text and its classical roots. He bolsters the technical bravado and tonal variety present in the Canzoniere by highlighting the religious and philosophical undertones that linger in Petrarch's euphoric, tormented, and turbulent love poetry. Okay, fantastic. And who are you? Who are you? A.M. Juster is the nom de plume of poet, translator, and critic Michael Astrue. He's written a book of poetry, more than one book of poetry. He's a graduate of Yale and Harvard Law School, with a long career in federal government, and has worked in senior positions for 4 U.S. presidents. Okay. Well, I wouldn't have expected that. This is going to be a $35 hardcover, 400 pages, coming out in early April. And then what is the last one? Are you dude bros ready? This is a new translation of the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, or as we like to call him in the dude bro world, Marcus. So this is 2 out of 4 that I can actually check on the translation. I can actually go and see what kind of a job the author is doing. And unfortunately, it's the 2 where the authors are taking less liberties. The 2 here where it sounds like the authors are striking their own path from previous translations are from languages that I can't read. So what do we got here? Acclaimed poet and translator Aaron Puchugian. His vibrant new translation of Marcus Aurelius' Meditations captures and accentuates an aspect of the best-selling work of classical antiquity that other translations have, remarkably, overlooked. Oh, really? Okay, it's been translated 600 times. We're calling him Marcus's distinct varying voices. There's Marcus the aspirant, speaking encouragement to himself, as a diarist might. There's Marcus the instructor, exhorting and chiding a generic you. There's Marcus the statesman, and Marcus the philosopher, opining about the human commonwealth of which we are all members. Except women. And the slaves that he owned. This multivocal chorus is apparent to all who can read the original, but Puchugian's sensitive ear has captured it in English as no translator has before. The result is a Meditations that is as pleasurable to read as it is profound. How interesting. How interesting. Aaron Puchugian did a Sappho version, I believe. So this comes out in January. This is the nearest of them all. Shall we see? Shall we see how it starts? Because most of us, those in the Dude Bro world, will be familiar with how this book starts. I wonder if the difference in his translation will be available right away. Oh, okay, yeah, a little bit. Book 1, From my grandfather Varus, Good Character and Resistance to Anger. From my father, what I have heard and remember of him, Modesty and Manfulness. From my mother, Piety, Generosity, and an aversion to wrongdoing, the very thought of it. But notice just that. So in the normal translations you have, from my grandfather Varus, I learned good character and resistance to anger. But you're not getting that here. You're just getting... How interesting. Oh, boy. Okay, so this thing has a long introduction and lots of notes, and page after page after page of notes in the back, but no translator's preface. I wonder do you write your own introduction? Maybe your introduction is going to be basically your translator's preface. Because I want to hear what you have to say about translating this thing. This is by far, in the Western world, by far the most popular of the 3. There's no, of course, there are precious few books anywhere in the world that are more popular globally than the Analects of Confucius. I mean, it's not even close. Not even close. But in the Western world, this is the most well-known. Oh, no, there is a translator's note. It's only 5 pages long, but okay, great, fantastic. All right, fantastic. So a blast of translations, all of which fascinate me, but none of which are going to bump Finland from the reading tonight because they're all next year. So we only have 1 package left. And what are the odds that it's going to be something that's going to bump anything? It's pretty heavy, though. It's probably a finished copy. Let's see what this is as we are slowly constructing my night's reading. What have we got here? Oh, my God. Okay. All right, I'm not keeping this thing. But I'm perfectly happy to be a way station for it. This comes out on Tuesday. This is the finished copy of Sven Beckert's book Capitalism. This is a gigantic thing. This huge thing here. The magnum opus from legendary historian Sven Beckert, a founder of Harvard's program on the study of capitalism, whose impact on his field is unparalleled. He brings his authoritative grasp of global history and captivating writing to a much larger scale. This book is a landmark event 8 years in the making, a global publication heralding a brilliant, ambitious global narrative that unravels the defining story of the past 1,000 years of human history. Okay, well, I'm gonna put this in the mail, obviously, to David Murphy, since no one understands the subject better than he does, and I don't understand it much at all. Although, now that we've got the finished copy, it's almost impossible to resist going to the index and seeing if any of David's boyfriends are in here. So let's look up Schumpeter first. Yes, he has plenty of entries. And then, let's see. I wonder if it's going to be under Mises or von Mises. Oh, no, it's Mises, but it's only one entry on page 1000. Uh-oh, trouble in paradise. Anyway, I will, of course, be sending this along to David Murphy, but nice to see it anyway. So there you go. That is the mail. What a mail haul. So we have Capitalism. Gigantic brick of a thing. An obvious choice as a gift if you have a wonk that is on your list. This is an obvious choice as a gift. Then we have the Finnish front line. Cold War history and also Kennedy history that I know very little about. How wonderful. Then a mystery of A. Nubbins. I'm going to figure out the provenance of some of these things. I don't know where they're coming from or why they're coming to me. We have Dirty Metal, Alison Lamoth's debut thriller. What else have we got here? The Wicked by social media star Rebecca Johnby. Let's see here. The Gap Years by Tom French, where he cashes out his golden parachute and gets to work recapturing his youth. And then a blast of translations, new translations in the new year. A new translation of Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, a new translation of the Canzoniere by Petrarch, a new translation of Gilgamesh by a famous translator, and finally a new translation of the Analects of Confucius that may or may not be ground clearing. Just incredible. I have, I think, 2 different translations of the Analects here. I'm pretty sure that I have 2. So I'll be hauling them out, but I'm basically going in blind. Whereas the Marcus Aurelius is Greek, and I have it here, and Petrarch is also, I have it here. So those I can go and see. Well, okay, what are you doing with this? And the Gilgamesh thing, you'd be shocked to see what we actually have of Gilgamesh. So anything you do with it, the fairy version that was so popular for a while, anything you do with it is going to be more of an adaptation than a translation. If you translated it just literally, it wouldn't sell you any books. So what a fascinating batch. Oh my. So, but I'm not going to yield. I'm not going to go to it. I'm going to go with the Finnish front line tonight. But anyway, there's the mail. A nice, big, healthy mail haul. How wonderful. So I'll wrap this up, and we will go on next time. Thank you, BookTube.